I was born in Burbank, California, to Wesley and Joyce Manier. My parents are both from the Midwest. My paternal grandfather worked in the chicken farming industry in Iowa, while my maternal grandfather was a metal union worker in Chicago, Illinois. My parents met in Chicago, where my mom scooped ice cream and my dad delivered ice cream. My mother finished high school and my father completed some college. My dad spent some time in the military serving in Korea in the 1960s. My parents moved to California in the late 1960s with my maternal grandparents. My parents both taught me a strong work ethic, especially my dad. I learned that you should always do the job right, and if you didn't do it right, do it again. Putting in more elbow grease was one of his sayings. My mom taught me generosity and learning to care for people and about people. Our family's cultural heritage is Western European, French and German primarily. As far as activities we would do to align with those ethnicities, I would say they're pretty few and far between. My maternal grandmother would sometimes speak some German words here and there and maybe make a special German dish. We didn't have a lot of family around. Primarily, it was my grandmother and step-grandfather, and my cousins lived in the Midwest. Once my parents moved to California from the Midwest, they wanted to get away from the snow. My mom started working for Lockheed Aircraft. She worked in various clerical positions, while my dad was in the manufacturing field, specifically supervising soap manufacturing in LA for the LA Soap Company, also known as White King. We were lower middle class. We saw my maternal grandmother and step grandfather quite a bit, and my grandmother and I developed a close relationship over the years. Once I was school-aged, my family used their social and cultural capital to enroll me in a Burbank Unified Public School that was close to my mom's work and allowed after-school care in that same town. After a few years at Providencia, my parents sought out other options as I was aging out of the after-school program with preschool students. They applied to have me attend a Lutheran school, Laurel Hall. I recall having to take a placement test and being worried about being accepted at that new private school. My parents did not want me to attend my neighborhood school within Los Angeles Unified, as this is when busing to other parts of the district and county had started. My parents, my mom especially, put a high priority on my educational experiences, which would prove to be a theme throughout my educational career. Although it was a difficult transition coming in as a new student and the rigor was more difficult, Laurel Hall turned out to be a good fit for me. I made friends and built strong connections with my teachers and pastor. These connections would prove to be important when my parents' marriage began breaking apart. My leadership skills were starting to develop in the upper elementary grades. However, at that time, leadership in girls was seen negatively. I was described as bossy, which is exactly what I was called by a male classmate in my 7th grade yearbook. I wonder if one of my male classmates was ever called bossy. I suspect leadership was more accepted by males at that time, just as it is now. I served in the cafeteria by preparing and distributing food. I was in the drama club and participated in plays and became a co-captain on the cheerleading team. School became my safe haven as my parents were frequently in conflict about divorce and custody proceedings. There was a lot of strife and conflict, and I definitely felt stuck in the middle. I lived with my mom primarily and would see my dad every other weekend and for a month in the summer. He remarried and had 2 sons, my half-brothers, with my stepmom. I am 13 and 15 years older than my brothers. School My church group and my friends were my safety net. I felt a sense of belonging and safety in my church group and my school group. When it was time for high school, my mom continued to lack confidence in the local public schools in our neighborhood, so I applied to attend private high schools. I began attending Our Lady of Corvallis High School in Studio City my freshman year. This was an all-girls Catholic school. There were high expectations for behavior, academic performance, and a much more ethnically diverse student population. I made good friends and appreciated our teachers. School continued to be a place of comfort for me. I knew what to expect and I wanted to excel. Home continued to be a bumpy ride. There were more leadership opportunities in high school, and I felt drawn to represent our class through the advisory council and then through the associated student body. It was powerful and impactful to speak on behalf of others in planning activities with our administration. Interesting, in an all-girls school, I was never called bossy for expressing my opinion. Looking back, my interest in leadership continued to take root in high school. College didn't go quite as expected. I received very little guidance on how to schedule my classes, and I dropped out after my first semester. Working full-time and other commitments made it difficult to continue to prioritize school. I was living on my own, and it was important for me to be able to continue to pay my rent and food and all the other things I needed. Eventually, I enrolled in a community college as I tried to find my way. I didn't have time to be involved in school as I worked a lot. Eventually, I made my way back to finish my bachelor's degree and then worked in a research project, which led me to graduate school. Volunteering with students and learning about school psychology propelled me to apply to graduate school. I spent time substitute teaching, and through this experience, knew I wanted to work with students with disabilities. I recognized how difficult it was for students with disabilities to learn, and I wanted to help students be more successful. After spending many years working in retail, I knew I wanted to make a difference in students' lives and toward our society as a whole. My goal was to create the same experience that I had for students, that same sense of belonging I felt in school, and also the success I felt. I believe every student deserves those feelings. Once I started working with students and seeing them learn, I knew that I was in the right career. Education was the place for me. After working as a school psychologist for a few years, I was drawn to do more and move into leadership. So I attained my administrative credential and began working as an interim coordinator of special education prior to moving into a principalship for 4 years and then 5 years. I was so fortunate to be mentored and guided by wonderful professionals and leaders who saw something in me they believed was good for students. I so value the time they took to teach me, to trust me, and to allow me to grow. My leadership today is framed by a desire to provide students with high-quality educational services so they may experience the most success. Tied in is also a priority for our educators to receive appropriate and ongoing professional development so they can best serve our students. The thread that continues today, that was started many years ago, is to provide students what they need so they can experience the love, care, feelings of belonging, commitment from others, those same feelings that I felt when I was a student. It's a way for me to give back the gifts that were given to me.